I have read over 50 romantic fantasy series in the last year and a half, so today I'm going to be ranking my top 10. Yup, you heard that right. These are my top 10, my god tier series. These are books that I would quite literally sell my soul to read again for the first time. Like, if I could give myself amnesia, I would, so that I could experience these books for the first time all over again. Like, I am feral, unwell, obsessed with these books. I'm probably insufferable about them on the internet, but I don't really care because they are just that good. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Kenzie Deeran, and I am so excited to be talking about my all-time favorite books, and hopefully I will convince you to read them by the end of this video. I have read almost 200 books in the past year and a half, and ranking this and narrowing this down was extremely challenging. I feel like I am still missing so many of my favorite books, but these 10 series, they really did something to me. Like, there's that little extra something that made my soul sing when I read them. I know I said I would be ranking these, but I truly cannot. So these are going to be in no specific order. I am just so in love with all of these books, all of these worlds. So we're just gonna get right into it, starting off with the Legacy series by Melissa K. Roerich. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about this series, but sorry, not sorry, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I read these books in the winter of this past year, and my only regret is that I did not start them sooner, because my God, these are all masterpieces. 80% of the space in my brain is taken up by the Legacy series. This is a dark romantic fantasy series set in an oppressive world with the children of the gods, fae, witches, vampires, shifters, dragon, and the most morally black characters you will ever read. We have forced magical bonds, and we have the most interesting character dynamics and relationships, just trust me. Basically, in this story, as I said, it's an oppressive world, and it's ruled by the Legacy, and the Legacy are the children of the gods. The gods are no longer present. They have decided to leave this world alone, and the Legacy have decided that the fae are going to basically forevermore be forced into a life of constant servitude to them. So obviously it's very terrible if you're a fae. Every 5 years, the eligible fae are gathered and then separated into one of the 6 kingdoms in this world. And the greatest honor of all is to be chosen to be one of the heir to the throne's personal source. Enter our FMC Tessa. She is a fae that has lived a pretty awful life for all intents and purposes, and she gets chosen by force to be forcibly bonded as the personal source to Theon, and Theon is the heir to the Kingdom of Ending. So the darkest kingdom in this world, that's where she's ending up as his personal source. Basically, when you are a source as a fae, you are forced to give all of your magic to whoever you're bonded to, and essentially what ends up happening is because of the magic and the spells that they do, the person you're bonded to, their thoughts become yours, their desires become yours. You essentially become a shell of yourself, and your only purpose is to serve them and be whatever they want you to be. So it's obviously very awful. And typically when a fae is chosen as a source, they end up just complying. But Tessa does not want this. She is livid. She absolutely doesn't want this bond. She does not want to be near Theon, so she is fighting it every single step of the way. As the pair keep fighting against each other, they actually realize that there may be even darker secrets at play within Theon's kingdom, and Tessa just might be the answer or the destruction of all of it. I am so beyond obsessed with this series. Book 1 is definitely a little bit more character driven. We really get to know Theon, Tessa, and the dynamics of their relationship. But then the other 2 books become much more plot driven, although they still obviously have a lot of character. It is just so insane. I don't want to spoil anything else, but we get a lot more interactions with some of the other main characters, one of them being Luca, who is my favorite. He's a dragon shifter. But anyway, I'm obsessed with this series. I do just want to make a disclaimer. Clearly, this is a very dark premise. It's a dark world. It's a forced bond. Don't go into this if you're going to have an issue with that. I do not think it is fair when authors make it very clear that something is a dark book, and then readers who hate dark things read it and then rate something 1 star because they're this was really dark. And it's yeah, no shit. Okay, anyway, moving on. Sorry, just wanted to get that out there. So this is the perfect segue to talk about the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Roerich as well. Both series are set in the same multiverse. So what this means, it's the same gods, magic systems, history, all of those things, but basically it's just 2 different worlds within, like, or realms within this overarching world. So different realms going on. The Lady of Darkness series takes place slightly before. In the Lady of Darkness series, we follow our FMC Scarlet, who is part of a trio of adoptive sisters, and the three of them have been trained since they were children to essentially torture and kill for a living. Like, they are known as like the Wraiths of Death. They are the most notorious and feared group in the entire kingdom because they're just like these trained assassins, and they were trained by the Assassin Lord. When we begin this book, we find out that Scarlet is living a very quiet life locked away in a nobleman's house. We are led to believe that she is dealing with the aftermath of an extremely traumatic event. Something happened, and the Assassin Lord essentially has like locked her away until she falls in line. Enter our MMC, who is the new captain of the guard, and he agrees to train Scarlet after the two of them have a little bit of a duel. They meet at this nobleman's house, but there's something about him Scarlet can't quite place. She feels very drawn to him. She doesn't really know what's going on. It's all very strange. Meanwhile, while all of this is happening, the Assassin Lord finally reaches out to her about a job. And if she completes this job, he is giving her the ultimate prize as her payment. And that is revenge against the Fae Fire Prince, who is responsible for the murder of Scarlet's mother when she was a very young child. And while all of this is going on, Scarlet finds out that children from where she grew up are going missing. They're being kidnapped, and she and some of her friends begin to investigate to find out like what's happening here. And it turns out that there are extremely terrible things lurking beneath the surface of this kingdom that she had absolutely no idea about. And obviously the plot just like explodes from there. The plot becomes so intricate, and I just like really can't say anything without spoiling it. Like, if you've read this, you know, I can almost say nothing about the series because some of the characters' names change. Anywho, the history of the gods and goddesses and just the history of these worlds in general is truly incredible. I am blown away by Melissa K. Roerich. She just released that there's like a bunch of other series within this like chaos verse, as she calls it, that she's writing, and the mastery is just insane to me. I will also say that Lady of Darkness has some of the best found family I've ever read. Like, each book gets better, in my opinion, in this series, and towards the end of it, like the last few books, I just sobbed the entire time reading it because the relationships are just so beautiful. Now, quickly before I continue on to my third top romantic fantasy series, I do just want to give my opinion on a reading guide with Lady of Darkness and the Legacy series. There are character crossovers and like lore crossovers that you will not really understand, or that will not hit as hard if you read the Legacy series before you read the Lady of Darkness series. So my recommendation would either be read all of Lady of Darkness and then read the Legacy series, or read the first book in the Legacy series, then read all of Lady of Darkness, and then go back and read books 2 and 3 in the Legacy series. I know that this seems like a lot, but hey, you'll be entertained for a while. Also, just want to give a disclaimer. I know some people say that they think the Lady of Darkness series is very similar to like Throne of Glass. I can like sort of see that with book 1, but truly after that, like, it is just so intricate and amazing. So I can't recommend it enough. Next up, we have my most recent favorite addition to this list, and that is the Otacian Chronicles, aka The Lies of Lena and the Sins of Silas by Kylie Snow. Now, if you follow me on other platforms, you have been witnessing me actively crash out over this series. Like, I do not plan on stopping. I'm being a freak. I literally don't care. It's so fucking good. If you want yearning, if you want tension that will actually make you feel physically ill, you have to read these books. Like, they are phenomenal. I will never stop screaming it from the rooftops. This is another dark romantic fantasy set in a world where mages are discriminated against, and obviously our FMC Lena is a mage. The Lies of Lena, which is book 1, is separated into 2 parts. The first part is when our main characters are teenagers, and we basically get to read this beautiful, sweet story of the two of them falling in love. And obviously part 1 ends in a heartbreaking way, and then part 2 picks up, and it is 5 years later, and the world is way darker, the stakes are way higher, it's grittier, and a lot of shit has happened. Like I said, part 1 ends in tragedy, and when I tell you after that, the tragedy just continues and really never stops. So be prepared. I sobbed a lot. I can't say much without giving away plot points in part 2 or book 2, but when I tell you the Sins of Silas literally took a piece of my heart and soul, like the physical pieces of it, I can feel it missing, and I will never get it back, and that's fine. I would really do it all over again. The heartache, the forbidden love, just the tragedy of it all, it is so insane. Like, it's painful, and I mean that as the highest compliment. Switching into YA, we are going to be talking about the Legendborn Cycle by Tracy Deonn. it doesn't matter that this is YA. You have to read it. I promise. I think that this series should be required reading. This entire series is a masterpiece. This is my favorite YA series of all time, and obviously it's just one of my favorite series in general of all time. It truly is exceptional. This series begins with our FMC Bree, who is 16 years old, and she is starting an early acceptance program for gifted high schoolers at UNC Chapter Hill, and this is in the wake of her mother's recent and unexpected death that is said to be because of a car crash. On her first night at school, Bree actually ends up witnessing a magical demon attack, and a mysterious boy named Cell fights off the demons and then wipes all of the memories of all of the students at this event. And he obviously does that to Bree too. However, it does not work on her for the first time in Cell's life. So because Bree is curious and she's like, what the hell is going on? I remember what happened and this is crazy. She follows the breadcrumbs and she finds herself involved in the midst of the Legendborn Society. And this is a secret society of magic users who are descendants of King Arthur and the Round Table. So yes, like basically in this society, it is the actual descendants of King Arthur and the Round Table, and they had cast a spell back in the Round Table days that allowed their magic to continue down their bloodlines so that they could protect humans from demon kind. So as Bree is learning about this, some of her memories around the car crash that her mother was in, they start to change and resurface quite a bit, and it seems that the Legendborn may have been involved in some way, and she is extremely confused as to how this could possibly be the case. So Bree basically makes it her mission to infiltrate this society, and she does so by getting the help of Nick, who was a self-exiled Legendborn member. She kind of like coerces him, because obviously he likes her, into bringing her into this group so that they can find out what happened to her mom. So Nick brings Bree into this world, and immediately she is treated pretty horribly. Like, this is the American South. There is a lot of racism embedded into this society. So obviously Bree is not treated well. All the other members are white, affluent, and Bree is a black girl who is trying to figure out what happened to her mom. And while she is dealing with all of that, because obviously that wasn't enough for this poor girl, she also is introduced to rootcraft, which is magic that black people are able to use by channeling their ancestors on an ancestral plane. And she learns a lot more about her family history by doing this and doing things such as memory walks. And really, if all of that wasn't enough for this poor teenage girl, there is also a demon war looming that she finds herself right in the middle of with the Legendborn that could literally destroy the world. So there's all of that. It is truly such a standout series. There is so much going on. I always think it is so impressive. Like most fantasy series, they have one magic system. Tracy Deonn wrote 3 into this, and I just think that that is a testament of how exceptional of a storyteller she is. Okay, listen. I know that some of you like to be a hater about this next one, but I don't care, because the Kindred Curse Saga by Penn Cole is one of my favorite series of all time, and this is a DM stan account. Fight me in the comments, I dare you. We have elemental magic, hidden identities, so much action and adventure, so many plot twists, so many reveals, and the slowest slow burn I have ever read in my life, led by the king of yearning and pining himself, Mr. Luther Corbois. This story takes place as an oppressive world ruled by the Descended, which are the children of the gods here, and our FMC DM is a mortal healer. One day, DM's mother mysteriously goes missing without a trace, and because of that, DM is able to get access to the Descended Royal Palace and take her mother's place as the Descended healer. When DM is working as a healer in the Descended Palace, she comes face to face with the Shadow Daddy himself, Luther Corbois, who is also the heir to the Descended throne. It turns out that Luther might know some things about DM and her family that she was not expecting, and as the two of them get to know each other more, and as more things come out, DM begins to learn that her mother has essentially lied to her entire life, and there are so many things about herself, her lineage, and her history that have been kept secret from her, and that Luther might have more answers than he's leading on. This series truly is phenomenal because although the romance is spectacular, and I'll get into that in a second, the plot for me in this story was so insane. Almost every single page I felt like had a cliffhanger at the end of it. Like, these are books that you read and you do not want to put them down because there's so many reveals, there's so many hidden things, there's so many things that come to light, and I was just fascinated by it. There is such an intricate history of the gods. There's so much going on with DM's backstory and her history. We get to travel throughout this realm to different cities, and each one of them has a very specific personality. There's so many characters that like give you a little bit of information and then you are left with 18 more questions. Like, truly so good. I need book 4, like I need air. Now, getting into the romance, everyone loves Luther, myself included. Like, he is literally, like, he would literally crawl himself out of a grave and then just go on his hands across the world to get to DM. Like, this man knows how to yearn. He would wait thousands of years for her. It truly, truly is. He is so clearly a man written by a woman. I mean, that's really all I'm going to say. And really quickly, before I move on to the next book, quick defense for DM, and I know this will aggravate probably everyone. People don't like her because they think she makes bad decisions and that she takes too long to make decisions and like that she's stubborn. Listen, all I'm going to say is if I found out my entire life was a lie and that every single person that was supposed to be close to me had been lying to me for literally my whole life, I too would be a little slow to trust people. I also would maybe take some time to make decisions. I don't know. To me, it makes sense. I think that you guys like don't remember that these characters are not gods. They're supposed to be like flawed characters that we can relate to. Anyway, okay, the next two books are truly going to come as a surprise to absolutely no one that knows me because obviously I'm including Phantasma and Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. I am so unwell over these books. I can't express to you the level of obsession I have with these books, this world, this characters. Like, I had a physical sensation connecting me to these books. I binged both of them in under 24 hours and I would not put them down because I was just so like captivated and just immersed in these books. This series is a dark gothic fantasy romance series of interconnected standalones. I love this. So basically what this means is that all of the books in this series are going to take place in the same world, have the same general characters, but each book has a different couple as the main character. So like in theory, you could read all of them like in a whatever order without reading the first one. I don't recommend that. I have read both of them, obviously. Like, there is a couple of things like that carry over from Phantasma into Enchantra, so I would just read them in order. Regardless, though, it's nice because it's kind of like one book. The majority of it's tied up. You can just keep reading. But like literally, when you guys think of me, I think and I hope you think of these books. That's how much I talk about them. That's how much I love them. Like, I don't even have the words. And I will stop just rambling and tell you guys about the plot. In these books, we have demons, necromancers, phantoms, witches, vampires, wraiths, devils, you name it. It's in this book. Okay, so quickly just getting into a little summary of Phantasma. Here we follow our FMC, Ophelia, who's a necromancer that is participating in the games of Phantasma. And what Phantasma is, it is a haunted house and there are trials inside based off of the circles of hell. Yes, you heard that right. I think it is the most creative and cool thing I have ever read. Okay, moving on. So within Phantasma, she meets Blackwell, who if you know, he is my favorite book boyfriend. I fucking love him. Anyway, so Blackwell is a phantom that is basically tied to Phantasma, the haunted house. And he decides, like, why don't we make a deal? Like, he offers her this bargain. And basically what the bargain is he will help her win this deadly game if she gives him 10 years of his life, 10 years of her life. I'm just like in love with him. It's fine. But anyway, obviously the story just takes off from there. Anyway, book 2, Enchantra, we have Ophelia's younger sister, Genevieve, that we got a little bit of in book 1, not a lot, obviously. And so what happens here is Genevieve is off in Italy, and she gets an invitation to go to this Italian palace in the countryside. And when she gets to this palace, she ends up in the midst of a deadly game with a family of wraiths that reside in this palace. And this awful game is put on by one of the devils of hell, and then it is watched and spectated by all of the citizens of hell. Our MMC Rowan is tattooed and pierced. Yes, you heard that right. And he's, a tattooed and pierced shadow daddy who's also a wraith, and I promise you will fall in love with him. I fucking love these books. Like, I will never get enough of them. I want to reread them as soon as I'm done reading them. Like, they are just so much fun. Okay, continuing on with our dark gothic fantasy romance train, we have Anathema by Carrie Lake. Now, this was so phenomenal. I'm including it even though only one book is out in this series. I think it's originally Duology. I don't know if it's going to be more than that, but like, this book was so exceptional. I don't even need to read more than one book in the series to know that this is like god tier. This is a dark romantic fantasy set in a gothic world, and I was so enthralled and immersed from page 1 until the very end. Carrie Lake is truly the queen of dark gothic fantasy romance. Like, her writing is so exceptional. You truly feel immersed in her books, and Anathema was just such a standout to me. I love a lot of her books, but this one was just like top tier. This is another slow burn where our characters don't even meet until past the 50% mark, and if you know me, you know I fucking love that. This is dual POV, and our FMC is a shunned woman living in a mortal village next to the witch Nell Woods. Her name is Mabeth. Now, all of the villagers call it the Eating Woods because anything that goes in has never come out. It's extremely dangerous, it's extremely dark. Obviously, they don't really know what's going on because no one's ever come back. A tragic turn of events forces Maeve to escape basically into the woods, and she ends up crossing a boundary that no mortal has ever crossed before. And inside this hidden fantastical world, she finds herself meeting Zavander. He is our MMC, and he is the coldest and most calculating assassin in this realm. So Zavander has actually been tasked to hide Maeve from the magehood because they are after her to crucify her in the name of some arcane prophecy. But this becomes a tad difficult for him when he realizes that her blood, so like her death, would be the cure to a curse that is plaguing him. And it's like very serious and very bad. Obviously, nothing really goes the way that he was anticipating it as he gets to know Maeve, and the two of them seem to really kick it off, and he becomes a bit obsessed with her. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. The second half of the book, their romance, delicious. I'm obsessed with it. But I really loved this book because we get to know our characters so well before they even meet. Like, we really get to know about them. We get to understand like their backstories, their histories. And I think that getting so much information about them separately before they even meet, it just makes their relationship even better because we have like fully fledged characters here. As I said, Carrie like really is a master of this genre. It is just like 10 out of 10. Taking a total 180 here, I'm now gonna talk about Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is one of the most whimsical, magical series I have ever read in my entire life. Like, reading it feels like a fairy tale has come to life, and I've been chasing that high, and I have not found it. So if you have any recs that feel like this, please drop them in the comments. Yes, this is YA, but I am still going to love these books when I'm 100. Okay, so in this story, our FMC Evangeline, she believes in true love and happy endings, and all she's ever wanted is a happily ever after. But that is until the man that she loves ends up betrothed to another, and they're going to get married, and she doesn't know what to do. She is distraught. So she, in her misery and all of her emotion, she strikes a deal with the wicked and immortal fate, Jax, the Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, Jax asks for 3 kisses given at any time that he desires. And the catch that she obviously doesn't know until after this bargain has been struck is that his kisses, they'll kill you. Jax seems to have some plans for Evangeline that she was unaware of, and she very quickly learns that you should never make a deal with a fate. As the series continues, we get curses, princes, magic, so many adventures. It is just exceptional. I cannot say enough good things about this. Like, really, these books are just stand out. They are so popular for a reason. I also adore Jax, even though he is awful. I find him so hilarious. Like, he's very sarcastic, and I was giggling the entire time I was reading these, and his redemption arc at the end is nice. The fate with no heart learns to love. Okay, anyway. Also, quickly, my opinion. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I think it takes place before this in the same world, and there are some crossover characters. We get Jax in that book too. I think you should read them first. I do not like them as much. I like them. I enjoyed them. I had a really nice time reading them. But like, they're not obviously not God tier. They're not on this list. I think it makes Once Upon a Broken Heart hit a lot harder. You get a lot more backstory about Jax. You kind of see some of his villain origin story. I highly recommend reading it first. They're quick reads. They're YA. Like, you can do it, I promise. And last but certainly not least, we have the Shepherd King Duology, aka One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This series is always going to have such a special place in my heart because these are the books that got me in to my favorite subgenre of books, which is dark gothic fantasy romance. If you can't tell, I'm literally wearing a necklace that is like an ode to One Dark Window. It's like one of the little Providence cards. My friend Danny, she makes these. You should check out her Etsy shop. I will put the information below. She makes like bookish charm necklaces and earrings and Kindle chains. Adorable. Okay, anyway, sorry. These books are so beautifully written. They are dark and atmospheric, and I think that they are a fabulous entryway if you are new to like gothic literature because they're not scary or spooky. The just atmosphere is very gothic, and Rachel Gillig does a really good job. So I think that these are perfect if you want to step into the dark, to the world of dark fantasy romance. Okay, so this story takes place in the Kingdom of Blunder, which is a land plagued by dark magic. In order to stay safe from all of the darkness, our FMC Elspeth just might need a monster, and that monster happens to be the nightmare that quite literally lives in her head. Yes, he is my hear me out boyfriend, and no, I don't want to hear anything about it. Anyway, the nightmare is this like mercurial spirit that, as I said, literally like lives in Elspeth's head, and he possesses dark magic. And the catch is, the more of the nightmare's magic that Elspeth uses, the less control she has over her own mind. So like, if he just continues to like use magic, he will be like in control of everything. So Elspeth meets this mysterious man on the road one day, and he happens to be the king's nephew and also the captain of the guard, and his name is Raven, and he is also suffering from a similar affliction of dark magic that Elspeth is. Just an FYI, this dark magic that the two of them have, it's considered treasonous, and it's outlawed in this land. So in theory, they should both be killed, according to the king. The pair decide that in order to change their own fate and the fate of their kingdom, that they are going to collect the 12 Providence cards, which are the keys to this dark cure. So this is super unique, super interesting. In this world, Providence cards, which thinks very similar to tarot cards, are a huge part of the magic system. So if you are a holder of one of these Providence cards, you are then able to like practice whatever magic the card represents. So like, if you have the beauty card, you can, like you'll be more beautiful and etc., like all those things. But having all 12 of them together is extremely difficult, and it's also considered treasonous to the crown to try and collect all of them, because the king is trying to collect all of them. So obviously this is very high stakes and just so much happens, but this is just one of the most unique books. The story just really takes off, and it is so interesting to me. Like, I read both books in this duology in like literally 2 days total, because I was so obsessed and could not get enough. Okay, so there are my 10. This is by no means all inclusive. I feel like I'm leaving out so many of my favorite books. It was so hard to narrow this down. And also, just as an FYI, these are only my like romantic fantasy top 10. So like, I definitely, for the most part, read romantic fantasy, but I also like to read other types of fantasy. And if you're new to my channel and you don't really know my reading taste, some of my other favorite fantasy books, I'll just list them quickly so you know. It's things like The Poppy War, Blood Over Bright Haven, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, A Dowry of Blood, The City of Brass. Like, those are some of the other books that I absolutely am obsessed with. I just don't think they fall under, obviously, the romantic fantasy category. Let me know your favorite books in the comments, and let me know if there are any that I should add to my TBR. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.